What up, everybody? Welcome to week 10. Wrapped up week 9. Moving on. Some people got some wins, some people got some losses. Gonna go over that. Got a few small segments. I'm committed to making two recordings this week, 2 different videos, trying to make them a little bit shorter, short, sweet, to the point. So, and I was thinking about this. I need to work on my lighting a little bit. I'm trying to find the best angle. I need one of those lights. So maybe I'll invest in one of those. I also want to get myself a desk and kind of a better recording. Next year, definitely gonna be stepping up my game. That's if Austin hosts. Apparently Austin's pretty adamant. He's still crying. Even though that trade was probably for the best, that it didn't go for him, that it didn't go through. I mean, poor Jeff. Bijan is so talented. And I need to look this up. Poor Jeff. Bijan has been so disappointing this year. And a big part of that is because of their stupid coach. I forgot his name, but it's stupid. But here's an interesting fact, Jeff. You won't like this, but it's interesting. So here are a few running backs that have more carries inside the 5 than Bijan Robinson. Bijan, who was he was a top 15 pick. Arthur Smith, that's his name. Top 15 running back, which is not very common. I mean, the only last one that I can remember is Saquon Barkley. And they've used the heck out of him. He always gets volume. He's a beast. So is Bijan. So why not give him the volume? They had Tyler Algier running in the red zone and the goal line, and giving him the goal line carries. When I don't get it. I don't get it. I feel your frustration. I have him in a dynasty, and I have him in my other Yahoo, my work league. So I feel the frustration. But here are a few players that have more carries than Bijan Robinson inside the 5. Tank Bigsby, backup running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's warming up my bench, just waiting. I'm not waiting, but if there's an injury to ETN, then I have him. Joshua Kelly, another backup running back for the Chargers. Andrew Beck. Do you guys know who Andrew Beck is or what team he plays for? Me neither. No fucking idea who that guy is. Craig Reynolds. I honestly thought when I first saw that he was a wide receiver, but he's the third string running back for the Detroit Lions. Roshan Johnson, Damian Harris, Devon Achane, who's played 2 or 3 games, and James Cook, which he never gets goal line carries. I also have him in a dynasty. That is a sad list to be on. If you have less carries than all of those guys, I feel your pain, Jeff. So good job to everyone. L's in the chat. Put an L in the chat if you vetoed that. Eric, I'm talking to you. I know you're one of them. I feel like Eddie, the instigator, you're another one. I bet Nate was also in on that. I don't know who else. Maybe Mr. Organic. I could see you, Eric, swindling you and telling you to veto that trade. Good job, everybody. You hurt no one but Jeff. Anyway, moving on. That's not really what I want to talk about. I'm already getting off track. I was trying to keep this within 20 minutes, but that's okay. All right, moving on. Share my screen here. We've got some matchups this last week. Point leader right here. Let's go. Pretty happy about that. And even with that, my big producers or my big game players did not produce very well. Chase didn't do very well. Kupp didn't do it very well. Carson Wentz just got signed by the Rams. So, and he will fling the ball. He's almost like a Jameis Winston. He will throw it. He's better than Ripon, even if he only has like a week or 2 under his belt. So that's a little bit more promise for me. I'm happy about that. But need to get a win this next week. Good game, Dre. Next up, this was one I was watching. A lot of shit talking on both sides, but Eric's pulled out the win. Austin, I'll get back to you, but Eric pulling out the win. Austin did have a lot of players on the bye, so that was kind of tough for him. But Lamar Jackson did not produce. His wide receivers did not produce. He should have started Deontay Johnson. Kamara, he didn't produce very much. Pitts, another rough one on that team. And then Zach Moss did not produce. So a lot of players on your side that did not produce. Najee Harris looked like he got some more work. So that was pretty good. That was against a Tennessee defense who is actually traditionally pretty damn good against the rush. So I think there was a few turnovers that did help him out there. I don't remember exactly, and then Derrick Henry, he had a good game. He had another rushing touchdown. The only player that didn't produce for you, I mean, you don't really expect TJ Hawkinson to produce too much with the backup. So 69 yards is actually pretty good for what he was dealt. And then Henderson did not produce, and DK Metcalf did not produce. Everyone else did. You got Jalen Hurts on the bye. It'll be interesting to see if the other guy plays. I hope not. I hope he rests for our sake. But and poor Jeff had a rough week, even with Tua. We're pretty much at the point where, Jeff, you need to win the rest of your games or else you're almost guaranteed not to make the playoffs. I think the 6th seed is going to be 7-7. That's my prediction. I could be wrong on that. There's definitely a chance that you go 6-8 and make the playoffs. Someone does. It's a possibility, but it's a pretty slim one. So, Jeff, hope your team starts producing a little bit more. Whitney with another win, coming off a really good week last week, backs it up with pretty good 4th and 5th in points this week, but still not too far from 4th. So pretty low scoring week, actually, compared to last week, especially. So good job, Whitney. And then, Luke, 5 straight. And I'll get back to you, Luke. You're on a little bit of my segment today. I'm kind of winging my segment, but I've got a few examples. And then Mr. Organic with a dub, team producing, even though I believe, Justin Herbert really didn't need to do much. The Jets just handed that game to them, and they gave the goal line work all to Austin Eckler, which you have on your team, so you did benefit from that. So that's kind of interesting. I think that might cap your upside, but that's kind of rough. Gabe Davis with a big old goose egg, but he still produced. And then lost your defense. Definitely helps when your defense is scoring 20 points, 20-plus points. Same thing happened to me, and we were the top 2 scorers. So that's why I hate defense. I don't hate it. It's just so hard to predict. I mean, who would have guessed that the Chargers would score 20-plus points? I mean, Jets have they're not the greatest offense right now with Zach Wilson, but they're not a bad offense. And then poor Luke, another injury to your team. Cam Akers. I heard he might have torn both Achilles. That's rough. But although that's rough, you do have Madison, and now Akers is not going to be stealing away from Madison. So, I mean, there's some positive there, I guess. And you'll have a few people come back from off of bye. Josh Allen is still healthy. Knock on wood. Hope we keep it that way. Tony Pollard has been pretty disappointing, and Keenan Allen has not been producing like he was at the beginning of the year. So 5 straight, that's pretty tough, but maybe your team could turn around. And then last game, Eddie. Last 2 weeks, you have struggled. I think your overall points, your versus all, over the last 2 weeks, you've only beat one team. So your team does not look good, and you're very much needy at quarterback. And guess who has 3 solid quarterbacks? This guy. I mean, you cannot be rocking with Will Levis with confidence. So send me some trades. I got CJ Stroud, who just came off of a 40 plus, maybe even 50, 50 in some formats, but 40 plus game, fantasy point game. I also have Kyler Murray coming back from the IR. So I've got an extra quarterback. I'd like to keep a backup, but I've got one extra in case you want to do a trade. Send me some offers. I wouldn't mind Jacoby Myers or Jonathan Taylor, or I wouldn't even mind Garrett Wilson. So send me an offer because you need a quarterback. And speaking of, I came up with some needs for all the teams. Let me go here. Oh no, that's coming up next. Some needs for everybody's team. And then this is just my opinion. So our trade deadline is November 18th, so we still have some time. But here are some needs of different teams just to kind of think about it. Whitney, you also need, I mean, don't be just ignoring my trades. I feel like I sent you pretty fair trade. I know you don't do trades, but what happens if something happens? If something happens to Dak, season's over. Your season is over. There's not really a quarterback out there that you can really. I mean, Sam Howell has been picked up and rostered. You can't really get a decent. And Dak has been doing pretty damn good since you picked him up, but you can't be relying. Like, what if something happens to Dak? He's had injuries in the past, so don't be afraid to send me an offer. Anyway, some needs for everyone's team. Eddie. We touched on it. You need a quarterback. Austin, you've got Jay Jettis coming back, but Austin needs a wide receiver. Dre needs a tight end. I think he's got McBride, but maybe he'll do better with Kyler. So that's kind of a questionable. And your quarterback, I like Justin Herbert, but all of his weapons are getting hurt. So that's kind of hard. Luke, your team needs. You need some Band-Aids. Your team needs some fucking Band-Aids. Your team needs some vitamin C. Get them some milk. That's what you need. Luke, you need a lot now. I do kind of feel bad. I feel like every year there's always one team that just gets destroyed with injuries. Unfortunately, this year, that's your team. Whitney, I feel like you need a running back. Your two running backs are just kind of mediocre. Not mediocre, just average. There's never mediocre running back out there. I mean, it's the NFL. They're all good. But in terms of NFL, I'd say probably mediocre. In terms of fantasy. Eric, you need better RB production. What you got this week, and you got the win, but you need them to keep it up. And if their production starts to go back to where I think it might be, then you might be in a little bit of trouble. We'll see. Nate, you need some QB production. Yeah, you have Patrick Mahomes, but he has not been Patrick Mahomes as of the last few years. Patrick Mahomes, I'm kind of curious to see how he ranks against other quarterbacks. Me, I need more production. I need some running backs, some good running backs, and my top tier players to start producing. Those are my needs. Dre. Oh, earlier Dre, the tight end. I might have missed it, but Mr. Organic, you need a tight end. Other Dre, Hawaiian Dre, you need some wide receiver production. Your wide receivers are good, but they need to start producing a little bit. And then Jeff, you need everything. You might even need a second quarterback. I think we should make it to where Jeff can play two quarterbacks. He can be the only super flex. So those are what I think everyone needs. So go out there, make some trades, make some stuff happen. Let's quit vetoing trades. Which brings me to my next segment. Man, I got some good transitions this time. My next segment is all about karma. Karma always comes around, and I've had it. You guys have all experienced. I've had it. I had it with Austin. I trash talked his team, trash talked it quite a bit, And then I got the biggest karma ass whooping. Team produces 4. He almost outscores me by 100 points in 1 week. Definitely some karma there. We've had some karma with you guys vetoing. I mean, everyone that vetoed that trade was trying to veto in favor of Jeff and in spite of Austin. And we all know it. I mean, it's pretty clear. So there's definitely karma there because now, unless Arthur Smith gets fired and they throw in a new head coach, there was a report today that came out that Bijan Robinson is getting more roles away from the ball because he's been doing so good with the roles away from the ball, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because if you think about it, if you've watched Bijan with the ball, he's better with the ball than he is without the ball, because if he doesn't have the ball and someone else has the ball, then they're not going to be producing as well as Bijan. It's the stupidest fucking report I've ever heard. This is just my rant, but I'm going to read that report. I read it today and I want to throw my phone. Like I said, I've got him in another other few leagues. Let's see here. Falcons head coach Arthur Smith said Bijan Robinson's impact away from the ball can open things up for other Falcons players. Stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. You spend a top 15 round pick for this guy not to touch the fucking ball? Go get another blocker. Get another guard. You know who can block or who can probably defend or be a benefit outside? Not a top 15 pick. He's a top 15 pick because he's good with the ball. He's good with the ball. Give him the ball. Come on, Arthur Smith. God, I hope his kids at night sneak into his bedroom, grab some shaving cream, cover half of his mustache, shave it. That way forces his ugly ass to shave the whole damn thing. And then after that, he gets fired and then has to do an interview with a mustacheless face. I feel your pain, Jeff. I feel it. Okay. Moving on. Next karma. I got to prepare for this one a little bit more. This one's got a sound effect. I love doing sound effects with Austin. All right, here is a bit. This is the hard thing about doing recording and sharing it, is now you can have your words used against you. I mean, look at Eric's stupid picture on his Yahoo. It's me in a pink crop top. It's fucking stupid. But because he thinks he's funny and he's not. And he's scared to make a bet with me. And even if he does a bet with me, he's not going to pay out. He's a scared little baby. You're a scared little baby, Eric, and you won't bet me. All right. Anyway, getting off track. Yeah, that's a hard thing about doing a video, is you can use words against you. And here's a little bit from Austin. Here it is. Good job. He might get 4 to 6 points a game. And then look at the guy. The guy absolutely has gone berserk ever since then. Gus Edwards. Oh, I don't want. I guess we're going to. I don't want that. Jesus. Says he's only going to score 6 points a week. Oh, I forgot even the soundbite. A little late, but better late than never. Look at this. Ever since you said that, look at his production. Good job, Austin. Way to give karma. 20 points, 27 points, 17. This guy has averaged I'm pretty sure he's averaged 2 touchdowns ever since you said something. He had 3 touchdowns against me. That's right. That was tough. So good job, Austin. Way to jinx that one. So Austin's big winner there on karma. Oh, my next one. I thought about this right before, which prompted me to do the karma segment. Another piece of karma. I look back on messages, and Luke, who started 4-0, made a comment October 1st. Oof, let me go. I'm gonna tell you exactly what he said. October 1st, 1:59 p.m. Luke, I have him as Luke Costco. Luke said, question is, will Colby ever win a game this year? Question for everybody. Do we know what Luke's record is since that comment? 0-5. 0-5. Oh, I got it backwards. 0-5. Good job, Luke. Good job. Nice karma right back at you. You have not won one game or 1 week since that post or since your comment there. So karma there to good old Luke. All right. I feel like I give myself a lot of bad karma by doing these because I do like to trash talk as much as I can. And I'm going to do power rankings in my next episode. You know what? I don't care about karma. I do. I very much do. But I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to trash talk because I feel like it's more fun. It is more fun for me to trash talk. It's fun winning, but it is fun to also trash talk. But that's my segment for some karmas out there. So good job to everyone that vetoed. Good job to Austin. Good job to Luke. And then Whitney, I hope you get karma for not wanting to trade with me. I hope I offered you CJ Stroud for player of yours, and I hope he absolutely goes off. But anyway, moving on. Versus all. I didn't do that or do this last week, but let's take a look here. I updated it. Some interesting things. Nate has the most wins overall versus each person. I was the high scorer this last week, so I was 9-0. Let's go this last week, bringing my total up to 32 wins total. Hawaiian Dre, still with the lowest wins overall. Whitney with the second least wins versus all, and yet she's 6-3. You've been crushing it. You've been actually pretty solid the last 3 weeks. I think you were definitely getting lucky the first 6 weeks, but these last 3 weeks you've been going off. So Whitney might be, I would say Whitney's the hottest team right now. Her and Nate with Gus Edwards, but my only worry with Nate's team is with that new running back. I mean, that was such a bad game for the Seahawks, but that game, what is his name? Keaton Mitchell. I think he's going to start getting rotated in a little bit more, and will take away from Gus Edwards. I do kind of agree with Austin there, and the fact that having Gus Edwards I don't think he's been doing really good the last 3 weeks. But if you look at that, you could have Lamar rushing. You now have Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill. I think they have Melvin Gordon, but he's kind of trash. He's just old. But and then Gus Edwards. You have 4 players that are solid rushers that could be taken away from Gus Edwards, or 3 other players, 4 total. And so Nate does have a hot team as the last couple weeks. But right now, I think the hottest team is Whitney's. I'm I've had a couple good. Oh, I only had one good week over the last. Eh, over the last 5 weeks. I've had 3 really solid weeks. Um, yeah, I'm 3-2 over the last 5. Really rough start, but last 5 games I've been solid. But I do need to start winning. I don't think I could afford. I think I can afford maybe one more loss, but not even that with how low I've been scoring. If I can keep on consistently being a high scorer, which is very unlikely, then I think I can catch up on points on some people. But I think I've been gaining some ground on overall. This doesn't mean anything. I think this just gives us a perspective on whose team is kind of hot as of late and whose team is not. And I can tell you right now, Luke's team is not. Over the last 4 weeks, your versus all is pretty abysmal. You've had a lot of injuries and some underperforming players. You're just hanging on by Josh Allen. And if for some reason he misses any time, Luke could be missing the playoffs. There's a possibility out there. Dre, I feel like you're the luckiest team. You and Whitney have been very lucky with your schedule. I'm kind of curious to see, and I'll probably do this towards the end of the year. The teams that look like they're not going to be making the playoffs. Like, I'd be curious to see if you plugged in Eddie's schedule into someone else's. Like, if you substituted Eddie and Whitney, for example, I think Eddie might be like 7-2. I don't know that for sure, but definitely 6-3 is a real well, maybe 5-4. You've had some rough weeks, but you've had some weeks that you've actually gone off. So I think that's a big reason why you have so many wins versus losses. I think 5-4 maybe, but I'd be curious to see what that would look like. But right now, Nate with the most overall wins, Austin in second. Let's look at the league overview. We've definitely have playoff pictures coming into. We're kind of getting an idea of what teams are making playoffs and what teams are fighting for playoffs or a chance to make the playoffs. Let's see here. We've got, and this is kind of interesting. All the teams at the bottom, there was only one underdog win, I feel like, this last week. No, I wouldn't even say that. I had I think I had the most projected points this week, and I don't think I was an underdog, but definitely, I think I'm still last in points for. Just those couple rough weeks. The 1 week where I've scored 40 points. Well, I mean, of course, if I scored 90, if I just scored a little bit better in those few weeks, I think I'd be in the 800 ranges, kind of with everybody else. But that was not the case. So got to catch up on that. Yeah, that's tough. Luke lost 5 in a row. Let's see. Whitney's has the biggest winning streak with 3 in a row. Like I said, I think she's got the hottest team right now. Although I do get scared of Dak, and he's not the best fantasy wise against the New York Giants, and they've got Daniel Jones out again. So I could see that defense just going off and Dak Prescott not really having a big fantasy game just because he doesn't need to. Just like Justin Herbert, he didn't need to have a big game, so he didn't produce very, very much. So that's one worry I have of his. But yeah, we've got 4-way tie for first place with 6-3. Dre here sitting in the middle at 5-4, the only 5-4 team. We've got a few teams kind of falling behind a little bit. Luke went all the way from first, just slowly making his way down to 6th now. And I've had a rough year, but I'm only 1 game behind that 6th place. So I do have a disadvantage with my points, but I've got some hope. I think my team's starting to warm up a little bit. We're not quite hot yet. We're warming up. Eddie's had a rough couple weeks. Jeff, like I said, I think you're one more loss away from having a very slim chance of winning playoffs. But I think us three down here, we need to start winning if we want to have a chance to make playoffs. But we're coming down to the stretch. We're kind of coming down to the last quarter here soon. Definitely need a big win this week against Eric. We'll see about that. It is interesting, though, points against. The three highest is the bottom three. So this is why I think, like, when we look at this versus all, this is why I think, and we do this in another league, and I really like it. I think top 4 teams should make it. And then beyond that, whoever has the best versus all, then you're not so schedule dependent. And if a really good team has had a really rough schedule, then they still have a chance to make playoffs. And so that's where I think the last 2 should almost, or even just the last 6th place, or that last playoff spot should be determined by the versus all. On the versus all record. I think that would be interesting, but we'll see. Austin's still saying he's not going to be commissioner this next year. We'll see if that's still the case come next year. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I'll do another segment or another video. I'm going to really try. I guess I would have to do that tomorrow because Thursday night football. I don't think we have a really big game, but not a like a big fantasy relevant game. I'm actually kind of curious. I always forget who it is. And I told Amanda I would go attend one of her classes. She's a fitness instructor, or a, what do you call it? Personal trainer. Jesus. See, I start rambling on and then I can't think.
I'm still training people with a broken back.
Yeah, she's got a broken back. My back is broken.
My spinal.
Carolina. Oh, Chicago. Yeah, I want to watch that game. So I'll make a video tomorrow. Shoot me some ideas. Eric, join me. We can make a live bet if you want. Not live, but we'll record it. That way we have some proof. And that way, if you don't pay up, that's the only way I'll make a bet with you, Eric. And I'll make I told Eric I want him, because a little throwback here. So what year was that? We'll say the year is 2019. And the Nuggets and the Trailblazers are playing in the NBA playoffs. I forgot who was up. I think the Trailblazers might have been up, or it might have been a tied series 1-1. And Eric was like, "Hey, Colby, you want to make a bet?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And so we make a bet. What did I tell him? I think I told him, I bet you a mullet, or I bet you some kind of haircut. I was like, loser has to get a mullet or something, whatever it was. And then the Nuggets go up 3-1 against the Trailblazers, or something like a 3-2, or they were up. It looked like it was over. I thought, I was like, all right, now let's go make my appointment. I'm going to honor my bet. And I go up 3-1. Well, Trailblazers start to come back, and the series gets tied 3-3. And Eric comes into work with a freaking haircut. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And not a mullet, not what we bet on. This guy came in with a clean cut. It was probably when he was first dating Lindsay. But yeah, just complete clean cut. Completely did not honor his, even before it was even determined. And then turns out Trailblazers come back, win the series, and Eric, I don't even know he didn't even have an excuse. Just like a deer in the headlights. Ridiculous. So I would like, Eric, for you to come on. I'm challenging you to come on this podcast We'll make a bet. We have it recorded. We'll have it where everyone can see it. And then that way, and I told Eric, I was like, I'll make a bet with you. I want that little baby head of yours shaved, just the top. I want a lot off the top, just the top, complete bald. Like see how shiny my big ass forehead is? I want that up there for Eric. But he won't. He's too scared. But honestly, I'll make a legit bet with you. I think last year I sent you Chick-fil-A. I think that's what we bet on. I'll make a legit where you don't have to shave the top of your head bet with you if you come on tomorrow. So don't be a little baby, Eric, and get on the podcast. We'll make a bet. I'll do some power rankings. I would be curious to hear what your power rankings are, but let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this wasn't too long. Thanks for listening to me ramble on. Peace out, people.